Greetings, folks. Philip Bateman here with Sandrine, who's the co-CEO of the Club of Rome. And, ma'am, the presentation you just gave was probably one of the most compelling, well-rounded, well-articulated combinations of all the different aspects of the challenges we're facing on a fiscal, environmental, nature, societal, political, cultural level. So if you're not across all of that, then you're going to want to go out there and get the presentation, get the book, get stuck into it.
Yeah. Earth for All, A Survival Guide for Humanity. Go and get the book.
That's it. That's the start of all this. And I just wondered, what are you excited about at the moment? Because there was a lot of challenge in what you just shared. So
yeah, I mean, I think that all of us who are working in this area are fluctuating between despair and hope, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we are getting very close to a 1.5 degree world. We had hoped that as the Paris Agreement would get us into a world where we wouldn't actually surpass 1.5, and that's not looking like it's going to be possible.
Yeah.
I think what is giving me hope is the fact that we're starting to actually, believe it or not, see the pain points. We're starting to see the backlash because people are realizing this is real.
Yeah.
And that, in a very absurd way, makes us realize that, yeah, this is real. So what happens when things get real?
Yeah.
I mean, either you step up to the plate, you know, when the push gets harder, then those that are actually ready to go for the challenge are the ones that are going to start to come up with the right solutions, etc. We see, for example, in Europe, that first of all, there's price parity on renewables.
Yeah.
We're looking at the penetration of renewables, and we actually have done very well because I am coming from Europe in a European perspective. But this is where those that are in fossil energy, predominantly, those that are incumbents in our economy who have been extracting either minerals or fossil energy are starting to see the pain.
Yeah.
And that's why they're pushing back. And I think that's where then I start to lose a little bit of hope is the lack of bravery and leadership. I really think our governments have to start to be real leaders. And it may not mean that they are going to have all citizens happy with them.
Yeah.
But I think they probably will if they think about how to make life better for the majority of citizens rather than for the minority of citizens or the 10% wealthiest, because that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
You know, in Europe, the economy is driven 98% by small and medium-sized enterprises.
Yeah.
And for some reason, most of our regulators and our legislators are actually predominantly focusing on that 2%. And I think across the globe, that's problematic. Secondly, most citizens are feeling the pain. The economy's not working. Inflation's gone up dramatically while CEOs are making unbelievable profits that they're pocketing themselves.
Yeah.
So a real well-being economy is an economy of hope. It's an economy where people feel better, where actually there's green space, where we're investing in green products and projects, but we're also investing in social equity, where we're getting homelessness off the streets. Now, people will say, but that's too costly, right? The transition costs. The transition's difficult.
Yeah.
We can't transform our economies. And I say that's bullshit. We can.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
We really can.
I've been having a very existential week. Even through this, as you talk, I keep finding myself smiling. And I remember my therapist saying to me, oh, you do that when something's awful. I've got this wry smile on my face. Like I was speaking with Marco Lambertini, the convener of the Nature Positive Summit, 2 weeks ago. And you were mentioning...
And I know Marco well from the WWF days.
Yeah. And you mentioned a percentage of military expenditure being what we need. Though Marco brought up the fact that 2 to 3 times more than the entire military budget is spent on subsidizing fossil fuels.
Yeah.
So we have this massive intractable
and we do not end fossil subsidies.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Trillions that we could use. People tell us we don't have enough capital. Bullshit. The capital is held in the hands of those that are extracting our economy, that are creating the problem that we're seeing in terms of climate change and biodiversity loss. instead of taking that money and starting to redistribute it in projects that are servicing people, planet, and prosperity.
Yeah. And when we talk about this leadership thing, for me, like there's a real core of it around property rights, and then the protection of the state of those property rights.
Yeah.
And then there's legislated layers which keep people from actually the intractability of the law, which stops us really finding the money or making change. And I'm a little off track here because I felt like we were in a university environment. So I was going to say, well, how do we create a shift in time? How do we get the sort of leadership we need within the current system? Because I don't personally believe it's going to happen fast enough. Though I do have the question, what 2 or 3 questions would a leader ask themselves if they were looking in the mirror and they could say, I'm on the right track? Like, how do they know? What's that link between humanity and the intellect where you can go, what would you posit?
I think the first thing would be I have actually shifted my business in a sector which is starting to really build the future. And that might be renewables, it might be energy efficiency, it might be services, it might be AI for good.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's the first thing. I think the second one is a CEO that realizes that he's not giving everything to his shareholders.
Yeah.
A CEO that is actually enabling the money to go back into the company and into the people that are servicing that company, his employees or her employees.
Yeah, you can go look up the Dr. Bronner's piece I did on that one, where they have a no more than 10-to-1 earning of the CEO to the lowest person in the employee.
There you go.
In the workforce. Very simple little mechanism you can stick in yourself.
Yeah, completely. And then, what I said was a CEO that realizes that actually he doesn't need, and European CEOs do not get, most of them, paid the same as American CEOs. There are limits in terms of packages.
There are limits.
There are limits. There are limits to growth, and there are limits to the greed that we are seeing that is perpetuating the problem that we have. How is it possible that since 1978 that CEO packages in the US have gone up by 1,400%? I mean, where did that happen? And that employees, it's 18%, and that actually inflation is 30%. I mean, there is a problem there. And we know that will also create social tension, that will create instability in our financial sector, in our businesses, politically, etc. So the CEO that recognizes when enough is enough, and that, by the way, they've put in place a structure that starts to really make a difference in terms of the lives of their employees. That's that second element. So making a difference in terms of the world and really being geared towards, I'm in service. My company is not in service of profit, but actually is profitable for more people.
And while we're being blunt about it, having the balls to front your shareholders and say, this is enough.
Yeah,
you have enough.
Exactly.
This is enough. This
Get
is
away from quarterly reporting into long-term reporting, etc., etc.
Now your minders need you somewhere else.
Yes.
So don't want to go into more of the content of the presentation because I will put it in a link for everybody to get stuck into.
That would be great.
Finally, how would you paint the picture of Australia leading the way at COP31? Because we have COP30 coming up at Brazil, and then we have COP31. Opportunity for the nation. What would you imagine that looks like?
So first of all, I think, and this is a conversation that's live and all the conversations I've had over the last week from Canberra to here, I think the key is Australia needs to show the way of how we can actually shift from an extractive economy that is depleting, that creates the emissions that we have and the impact that we have, and shift away from that dependency. I mean, if Australia could try to show the way for a real just transition out of fossil energy, where minerals could be extracted with less of an impact on the planet, continue to show the way, for example, in some of its programs that it has on social equity, both in terms of the mines and the miners and also those that are working in these new sectors, as well as the old sectors, and the transitioning, but also in terms of First Nation peoples. Build on the Brazilian experience and build on the Brazilian example of both of social and environmental COP. And then take some of the great examples that you have, community examples, Local examples like in Canberra, where I actually spoke to the government and saw how they're shifting towards a well-being economy, an economy that places a value on what truly matters, not just extraction, an economy that doesn't just look at productivity, but actually starts to place a value on access to education, access to healthcare, hospitalization, people's needs, and really starts to function and shift the structure of the economy in terms of improving the lives and livelihoods of the majority. And that's not a communistic proposal, by the way. That's what we call a society that is truly functioning properly and creating more egalitarianism, as we've seen in the Scandinavian states, where egalitarian society still enable business, still enables some profit, but most importantly, creates stability and more happiness for the majority of people.
And it truly would add meaning to the term commonwealth, because we're
there you
a
go
nation. And it's always surprised me that we extract over.
I like that. I like that. I
the
like
commonwealth.
That. Yes. Yes. Let's talk about the commonwealth being actually doing what it's saying it should do.
And just in relation to extraction, BHP, the largest asset manager in the world, just came out against the largest mining company in the world and said, you don't have a credible transition plan. But Fortescue have just gone, they're doing real zero by 2030. So we have leadership in the sector, and our country is one of the most extractive and over-financialized in the world. So if you're watching this and you're in those sectors, what are you going to do about it? And if you're not there and you're near them, get into this information and let's put some pressure on them. Let's make it happen.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much
Let's make
for your
it
time.
happen. Thank you.